sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so get this. Imagine a final score in football. 7-0.
Wow.
That's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Nottingham Forest just absolutely dominated Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League.
Yeah.
We got this great match report from Nottinghamshire Live.
All right.
And it really breaks it down, but we want to go beyond just the score here.
Sure.
Really understand how Forest was able to pull this off.
Yeah.
So we'll look at some of the key plays, those standout player performances, and even think about what this might mean for Forest moving forward.
Right. Well, a 7-0 victory, that's rare.
Yeah.
Especially in the Premier League. It's really about the complete control Forest had throughout the match.
And you know what's even crazier? They were coming off a brutal, 5-0 loss.
Oh, wow.
The previous week. Not exactly the momentum you'd expect.
Right.
Going into a match against a team like Brighton.
So how'd they turn it around so drastically?
Right.
I think a big part of it is the return of two key players. Okay.
Danilo and Sangar. They were both out with injuries.
Right.
And their presence on the pitch, you could really feel the energy it gave the entire team.
I bet.
Yeah.
Especially Danilo. This was his first start.
Yeah.
Since that really bad ankle break.
Right.
So let's get into how this match actually unfolded, though.
Okay.
The first half, just a whirlwind of goals for Forest. Started with an own goal by Brighton.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes those early flukes, they can really set the tone.
Yeah, it's a psychological blow.
Yeah.
Suddenly Brighton's playing, more defensively and Forest is just playing with this confidence.
Right.
And then that's when they started to exploit Brighton's high defensive line.
Okay.
Playing these long balls over the top, catching Brighton's defenders just out of position. Again and again.
So it's not just luck.
No, not at all.
There's real strategy at play. This is what I love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You really start to see those layers beneath the surface. Right. And remember, Brighton, they usually try to control the possession.
All right.
With those short, precise passes.
Yeah.
But Forest, they were direct.
Yeah.
And it just totally disrupted Brighton's rhythm. It was really cool to watch.
So walk me through those first few goals.
Okay.
3 in quick succession. Almost unheard of.
Right. So you have that own goal.
Right.
Then Gibbs White, he heads one in.
Okay.
Followed by another header.
Okay.
From Chris Wood. And this is where I think you really see Danilo's influence.
Okay.
He's pulling the strings in midfield,
right,
making these really clever passes that Brighton just could not anticipate.
So he's not just back.
No.
He is back with a vengeance.
Yeah, he is.
But let's not forget about Brighton.
Sure.
They had their moments.
They did. Matt Sells,
right,
Forest's goalkeeper, he had to make a couple of really crucial saves.
Okay.
To keep them from getting on the scoreboard. There was one shot, I think it was in the 20th minute.
Okay.
From Brighton player.
Yeah.
And Sells just tipped it over the bar. Real turning point. I think if Brighton had scored there,
right,
it could have, changed the entire dynamic of the match.
Okay, so even in this route, there's this drama unfolding.
Right.
And this is only the first half.
Yeah.
But, Forrest has had this issue, right?
Yeah.
In recent matches, maintaining these leads. So was the second half going to be a repeat?
Right.
Would they let Brighton back in?
That was the question on everyone's mind. Could they maintain that intensity, the focus, for another 45 minutes? Well, I think Forrest put any doubts to rest pretty quickly in that second half. Came out even stronger.
So they didn't just sit back and protect the lead?
No. It was they could sense they were putting on a historic performance here.
I find that so interesting because you'd think, with a comfortable lead, there'd be that temptation to just play it safe.
And that's what separates the good teams from the great ones, right? They know that complacency is the enemy. They kept pressing, kept creating chances, and they got rewarded for it.
And Chris Wood, talk about a man of the match.
He had a day.
2 more goals in the second half.
Yeah.
A hat trick. That's not just rare in the Premier League.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
A hat trick and a 7-0 win, that's something special. But honestly, what impressed me most was his movement. When he didn't even have the ball,
right,
he was always finding these pockets of space, making runs that just pulled Brighton's defenders out of position.
I think a lot of people, they underestimate Chris Wood coming into this season. He's not always the flashiest player, but he gets the job done.
Classic number 9.
Yeah.
A true poacher in the box.
Yeah.
And a performance like this, it can really boost a player's confidence.
Right.
Imagine the impact if he can keep this up.
Yeah, it's almost like this match was like a turning point. Not just for Forest as a team, but for individual players like Wood, too. But the goals didn't stop there.
No.
Williams and Jota Silva got in on the action late in the game.
Just adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
But those late goals, I think they show you Forest's relentless energy.
Right.
Even with, a 6-goal lead at that point, they still wanted more.
Yeah.
I think that sends a message to the rest of the league.
What's that?
This team, they aren't going to let up no matter what the score is.
Yeah, it's basically saying, we're here to compete.
Exactly.
And we're not afraid to make a statement. But, as much as it was a fantastic team performance, there were a few players that really stood out.
Right.
The match report highlighted Danilo, Elliot Anderson, and Anthony Elanga.
Let's start with Danilo. I mean, to come back from a broken ankle and have that kind of impact, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
He was involved in so many of those attacks.
That pass he gave to Gibbs-White for the second goal,
Yeah.
it was like he could see everything before it even happened.
He's got that vision.
Yeah, and you mentioned his influence earlier. But give me a specific example, something that really jumps out at you when you watch him play.
Okay, picture this. 35th minute. Forest is already up by 2. Brighton, they're desperately trying to get back in it. Danilo, he gets the ball in midfield. 2 Brighton players are closing him down. And instead of forcing a pass or trying to dribble, he just does this subtle little back heel to a teammate who's wide open. It catches Brighton completely off guard, leads to a dangerous attack for Forest.
Those are the little moments, the ones that don't show up in the stats.
Exactly. But they make all the difference.
Right. It's about vision. It's about staying composed under pressure.
And just understanding how the game is flowing. And Danilo, he's got all of that.
So what about Elliot Anderson? It felt like he was everywhere.
Yeah, he's a workhorse.
Just that constant presence in the midfield.
And he was so important in keeping Brighton from getting anything going. He's not flashy, but he's effective.
Right. He's just doing his job.
He's got an internal GPS telling him exactly where to be at all times.
And that frees up guys like Gibbs-White and Elanga to do what they do best in the attack.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Elanga, didn't score any goals, but he had a hat trick of assists.
That's impressive. I think Elanga, he's really starting to find his place. As a player, he's got that pace, he's tricky, and he will take on defenders. But what I really liked was his decision-making. He always seemed to be setting his teammates up, giving them the best chance to score.
So it's not just about individual skill. It's about how you use that skill to make your teammates better.
Absolutely. Playing for the team.
And that really seems to be the theme of this whole match, right?
Yeah.
This collective effort.
Everyone playing their part.
To achieve something really special.
A masterclass in teamwork.
And something that Forest can build on as they try to climb the table.
Definitely.
So we've got this dominant performance, we've got key players stepping up, and a team that's playing with confidence and purpose. So what does this mean for Forest? Is this a sign of things to come? Or just a one-off?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It's easy to get excited after a win like this.
Yeah.
But the real test is how they respond in the next few weeks. Can they keep this up? Can they carry this into their next match?
That's how you know if a team is a contender or a pretender. But, we've covered the individual performances. We've talked tactics. We've even talked about what this could mean for Forest's future. I want to dig a little deeper here. Get to the heart of what really happened in this match. It's not just about that final score.
Yeah.
It's about how they got there. What does this win tell us about their coach's tactics?
Anyone can get lucky with a goal.
Right.
But to win 7-0, you need a plan. And Forest's coach, he definitely did his homework.
Okay.
He knew Brighton likes to play from the back.
Right.
So Forest, they just pressed them relentlessly, forced all those mistakes.
So they shut down Brighton's style, took away their strengths. But can Forest do that against other teams? Not every team's going to play like Brighton.
That's what's important, right? Being able to adapt. You can't just have one plan.
Right.
But we saw Forest adapt to Brighton's weaknesses.
Yeah.
They saw that high defensive line, and they took advantage.
Yeah, it's like they were playing chess. Every move was calculated, and they never let up. Even when they were up by, 5 goals?
Right.
6.
Right. That's got to be demoralizing.
Yeah, it's a huge statement. Forest showed they're not just messing around. They're here to win. And so for you, the listener, This deep dive gives you a way to look at the next matches.
Yeah.
We saw how Forest tactics worked against Brighton, but their next opponent, team name, known for that quick passing. They can break the press. It'll be interesting to see how Forest adapts.
Oh, that midfield battle is going to be key. If Forest can disrupt their passing, they might have another big win.
So we started with a crazy score, went deep into the tactics, and even got a glimpse of what's next.
Yeah, the beauty of sports. Always something new.
And that's what we do here. We give you those insights, help you understand why it all matters.
We go beyond the headlines.
We've covered a lot, but there's always more.
Of course.
Check out the highlights, get into the nitty-gritty. We'll be back next time with a brand new deep dive. Until then, keep learning and keep diving deep.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have the ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.